I always wanted to be Captain America. It's a living. Hello again, Generation 1 Transformer fans. This is Sparkster1701, and here we are for week 4 of Pretender Month. And we're going to take a look at one of the rather strange and interesting Pretenders, the Mega Pretender from 1989, the Autobot Saboteur, Vroom. Vroom would be available in 1989 only and would be discontinued for 1990, and we did not get a replacement for him. As stated earlier, Vroom is one of the Mega Pretenders, which is similar to the Pretender vehicle that we showcased last week in the fact that the shell transforms as well, but in this case, as he's a Mega Pretender, both the robot and the shell can be combined into one super vehicle. They sound impressive on paper, but we'll see further on if you agree if it is just as impressive in the final product. We'll start by taking a look at Vroom himself. It's a bit smaller than the average Pretenders were at that time. He stands just a little bit higher than the Pretender monsters, like I showed you at the top of the month. As far as articulation goes, he has pretty little. As usual, the arms do rotate, but due to the way this back piece is on him, his arms can only go up about so far. But at least it's still enough that he can still aim his gun or get into a fist fight. He does have some articulation at the hip, so he can do something of a split with his legs. And of course he has a joint at the ankles that's more or less used for his transformation. You got to be careful with how he stands. Spread his legs too far without adjusting them properly, he will fall down pretty easily. So now we'll move on into transforming him into his alternate mode. First thing we need to do is take away his shield and his gun. To transform him is pretty simple, as you might expect. We fold his arms down to the sides. We take this back portion on him and fold it out. Adjust it and fold it over so it completely covers his head, like so. Make sure basically that the back piece of it is just above his head, just like exactly like that. We come down here to his legs, fold his feet down, bring his legs together, and push them up as far up as they'll go. Then we take his shield and we mount it directly on top of him. And we get the larger gun, stick it inside him, and there is his alternate mode, an attack car. Seriously. Just because it has 4 wheels on it does not make it a car. Nope, doesn't look any better from the other side either. But at least it does have going for it that the gun does rotate, so we could say he's basically a rolling attack platform or something. Now while he's in this mode, we can use that to insert him into his Pretender shell, so we'll go ahead and do that. Start by removing the shield and the gun. Get both pieces out of the way here. you grab his arms that are sticking out, obviously out the side, and fold them down underneath him. Then you're going to separate his legs a little bit so that he can fit inside his shell. So bring his shell up here. Now in this case, this shell, due to the design of it, it opens up differently by opening up down here, just above the ankles. And it opens up just like that. And you wiggle him in, adjusting his legs so that they go in. Gotta get him to go down a little bit so that he'll go completely inside. There we go. He's now in. Then we just close him up, lock him in. Just exactly like that. Fully outfit the shell. We take this red sidecar piece and we just attach it onto the posts along the back side of his helmet. Optionally, you can attach the small gun to the back of this for some weird reason. And then you would take the large gun and the bigger tire that he comes with. There's a post right here on the big tire. You just mount that on top of the gun and put the gun in his hand. And there is Vroom in his Pretender shell. It has about the standard articulation for the humanoid Pretender shells, and the fact that you can move the arm. But as you can see, due to the way it's designed, that's as high as it goes, and that's as low as it goes. Still, there isn't much to look at, but putting the tire on top of the gun there is a nice little touch. Kind of gives the impression that his gun has a very large magazine in it. Sort of harkens to the multi-rounded submachine guns, almost akin to a Thompson submachine gun, or the Tommy gun if you prefer, or some of those specialized shotguns that use a drum-fed magazine instead. So it's at least a little bit different compared to most. Now that we've got him completely emptied of accessories, as you can see, we've got Vroom totally out of him. Close that back up. We're going to transform him into the motorcycle mode. First thing we got to do is see back here, he's got the front wheel. Front wheel needs to be brought around. Keep the shoulder pads out of the way. All the way around to the front. Then next, we take the shoulder pads and shift them up so they go above his head and lock them together. This will help hold the wheel in place. Then next, we take his arms, showed here from the side. There's a little hole here just beneath the fists at the wrist area. These holes connect to this post right here on the wheels. Just move it up and pop it into place. Then next, we take this piece here on the back of him. You separate it, pull it apart, rotate it to the sides, and then you're going to twist it 180 degrees. And we'll turn the figure around. And you get the tire. You're going to mount it onto this post here. Then bring them together and reconnect. That forms the back wheel. Then we take his feet and separate them and connect them onto the sides. And we stand it up here just exactly like that. Then you would take this red piece that he has here. We attach this front hole onto the post here on the back side of the motorcycle. And then you can mount the large gun on the back side. Thanks to the wide wheelbase that he has, he does roll pretty good, so I will give him that. Till you knock him over. Get back up there. This is the motorcycle mode. I mean, kind of harkens back to the GoBot Psykill in the fact that he's a pure science fiction type motorcycle that would be rather impossible for a human to drive it. Now, as we did say, he does have a deluxe mode where the robot can be attached. To do that, we have to remove the back seat of this red piece and the rifle. You have Vroom here in car mode, and you fold the arms underneath him, just like you were going to put him in the shell, but you don't split his legs. We take this red piece here, and as you can see from it, there's a vertical slot right here in this box. You're going to connect those slots to the vertical posts near the front end of Vroom's car mode. This is a tight squeeze here, folks, so just bear with it. There it goes. Went on there rather easily. Then you're going to take the small wheel, and it attaches to the post here on the side. Now this post here on the side of this red plastic part connects into this hole right here on the motorcycle. Then you can put the large gun in here, and the small gun can be mounted back here. And now he has a sidecar. Yeah, I'm speechless too on it, folks. It's not exactly the best, but when you consider the fact that the other two Mega Pretenders just basically clamped the vehicle mode of the robot onto the front of the Shell's vehicle mode, this is at least a little more imaginative. And probably a little more fun to play with, too. I mean, even with the added small wheel, as you can see there, it does roll pretty good across my table. Probably would be good for rolling at cats or something, too. Let us take a look at Vroom's small lost pieces and accessories, and as you can see, for a character of his size, he really doesn't have too many pieces. In fact, when it comes to the Mega Pretenders, he's about in the middle between the two. Thunderwing, the Decepticon one, has the fewest pieces, but his buddy Crossblades has the most. So, he's in the middle there. We'll start by taking a look at the shell. It is all one solid piece. As you can see, it does have a substantial amount of white on the backside of his boots and the entire chest cavity. So you'll want to check it for damage. He also does suffer from a fair amount of sticker wear. For some reason, the sticker on his codpiece is damaged a bit. Of course, another one that's particularly vulnerable is the stickers that make up his headlight on the motorcycle. People should bear in mind this wheel that's on him here, this one that's the front wheel, does not come off at all. It is not meant to. So if it's missing on yours, somebody has broken it. Next we have what the instructions call the small laser. This is Vroom's hand weapon. You can see it's more or less just kind of a futuristic looking laser gun of sorts. I have no idea why it's got two holes on the side for ventilation, but it is what it is. It does have at least it does have a little sight here on the top of it, so just have a little bit of detail, but not a whole lot going for it. Then we have the large laser. This is the weapon for the shell. Doesn't have a whole lot going for it either. It's really kind of plain, especially when it doesn't have the tire mounted on the top of it there. But it does have something here on the underbarrel, possibly a flashlight or a grenade launcher or something, or just something that's purely decorative. Next piece we have here, this is described as the sidecar slash base. It's more or less just a hunk of red plastic. Should have a post here on this side. This is where the small wheel connects, and it's got a post hole combo on the opposite side. That's where the gun connects in the shell mode, or how it plugs in to the motorcycle. And of course it's got very vertical and horizontal holes on it down here for the various connecting. And two holes on the top. It's basically, like I said, it's just a hunk of red plastic. Very important for the transformation, but it really doesn't add much detail to the toy. And you got the small wheel, as they refer to it in the instructions. It's nothing to really get excited about. Just has a big hole in the center and two bars running alongside it. And nothing on the back side, save for the small hole that attaches to Vroom's shoulder to make it his shield. As you can see, there's not even any tread mark on the side, so doesn't have much going for it. And then we got the rear wheel, as they call it. This is a pretty thick piece of black plastic, and it is basically what it says it is. It's a wheel. Just to make sure to note that on the one side here it does have a post. That's how it doubles as the ammunition magazine for his rifle. Moving right along now, we will take a look at his instructions. And this was done in the new style they were doing for many of them in 1989, complete with a brand new Transformers logo. Change up on the Mega Pretenders. The first page shows the Pretender shell armed up, but the second page, instead of showing the robot, shows the deluxe vehicle mode. Then we come here to the parts list. And as you may notice, the rear wheel is not shown, as apparently they keep the rear wheel stored on the back side of the Vroom figure. So it's another reason to definitely pay attention to the loose parts listed on my videos, since sometimes the instructions don't show all of them. And we go here to show you the attack robot, how to basically give Vroom his gun and his shield. As you might imagine, the shield only has one, there's only one post, and it's on his left arm, so he can only hold the shield on his left arm. And then we get into how to transform him. It's only 2 steps, so it's pretty simple. And then how to get him inside the Pretender shell. Sorry that you're seeing all the way through the instructions here, folks. And how to arm the shell. And flip them around to the back side. And it shows how to convert him into a motorcycle. And then here at the end, how to make him the deluxe motorcycle. And then a rather lengthy graph on how to put the stickers on him. And then we get here at the end, it talks about clipping the robot points, despite the fact that in 1989 there were no mail-away offers, and to study your tech specs. They used the same graphic that had been used all these years for it, even though they had used the same graphic, but they changed the picture slightly to represent the new way they were doing the tech specs here in 1989. So as you can see, we have those here, and instead of like in previous years where you needed a decoder to read it, they went with a horizontal bar graph. We'll take a look here at his tech spec. It has a nice little picture of him that would have been on the front of the box. As a Mega Pretender, it shows the shell and robot and both their alternate modes. It has his faction as Autobot and gives his name as Vroom. His function is Saboteur, and his motto is, "Don't take a chance if you don't stand a chance." A drag racing daredevil. Learned his trade blowing up enemy fuel depots in the asphalt wars on Cybertron. Armed with 2 exterior 3,000 round per minute ion pulse guns and magnetic repeller rifle. Also wields mind-altering illusionizer that distorts optic impulses. Transforms to rocket car made of rubber-coated armor that deflects and ricochets enemy shell fragments. Outer shell cycle equipped with oil slick and smokescreen ejection mechanisms, retractable tire spikes, hydraulic jumpers in suspension system, and rocket boosters in rear that provide short-term flight capabilities. Combines with rocket car to form super cycle, equipped with digital fuel gauges and micronized turbo injectors. So when you read about that, folks, it almost sounds like his motorcycle mode is a cross between Kit from Knight Rider and a lot of the cars James Bond drives. How's that for a motorcycle, folks? We move over here now to his actual tech specs, and as you can see, he's a pretty strong character here. It lists his strength as 6, his intelligence is 9, gives his speed at 5, I guess the turbo boost isn't factored into that. His endurance is 6, his rank is 7, his courage is 9, his firepower is 7, and his skill is 10. So he's probably one of the best saboteurs the Autobots have, and he's plenty powerful as well. Now we get down to what do I think of him. Well, while the toys modes do leave little to be desired, I would say that he's still a pretty impressive looking little figure. Going by all that was added in his tech spec, the more than meets the eye guides adds to the fact that he's a rather cocky daredevil, since before he joined the Autobots, he was a well-known stunt driver. He's known for racing into the Decepticon fuel depots, steal what he needs, and then sets up his explosive charges to destroy the rest. And he enjoys nothing more than the feeling of narrowly outrunning the explosion. So he's more or less become an adrenaline junkie. trying to imitate the escape out of the second Death Star that we see in Return of the Jedi. He apparently always is careful to calculate the risks of his actions, even if it doesn't look like he is. And this lust for danger and excitement is starting to concern the other Autobots. Since, let's face it, folks, if he gets caught in one of those explosions, he's not likely going to come back out of it. But in his line of work, and coming from the fact that he's a stunt driver, it's to almost be expected out of him that he's going to take a lot of chances with it to make it more exciting for him, even though war itself is not necessarily an exciting business. But it does help to add a little extra flair to his character. As a toy, well, he's kind of in the middle tier for a middle tier toy. I mean, his accessories are interesting in the way that they can be done up with each other. They do work out rather well, especially the aforementioned connecting the tire to the top of his gun. And the fact that the little robot does have a shield, which was a rarity amongst the Transformers. So it does add a little bit of spice and variety to his toy. However, the rocket car mode that he has is pretty pathetic. The motorcycle mode is okay considering what we have to work with, and the added fact that you can make the robot into a sidecar for the vehicle, for the motorcycle rather, does help a little bit with the overall play value. So, I'm going to definitely go with he's a middle tier toy on that. And that's about it for him, really. That concludes my review of the Generation 1 Mega Pretender, the Autobot Saboteur Vroom. If you liked the video, please thumbs up it here on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Feel free to post a comment and share this video with other collectors. And next week for Halloween, we're going to conclude Pretender Month with a rather creepy looking character, so please don't miss out on it. This is Sparkster1701 saying catch y'all later.